I was born in Fryedeck, Texas, May the 7th, 1922, I think. My full name was Louise Wilhelmina Leshak. I'm 94. Well, I was the youngest in the family. I was the baby, last one, and they all said I was spoiled because my older sister was like, I think in her 20s when I was born. So I was the rotten one. And of course, I was always flitting around, spying on everybody. I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And I remember us sitting at the supper table. I was always in my mother's lap. And I would eat sitting on her lap. And when my daddy would go to town, because he didn't drive, so my oldest brother drove us. And of course, I was the youngest. I was the spoiled one. I always had to go with him to Sealy, to downtown. And there was this big grocery store. And of course, I was always tagging along. And they gave me candy and stuff and bags of goodies to take home with me. I was kind of chubby and tough. I remember I used to beat on my youngest brother. I mean, I could keep up with them. We raised our own vegetables, all the food, and my daddy was always busy doing something. He could speak good English, and most of those people were Czech around here, and they were leasing these farms, this land, the oil people, and they could not understand. So my daddy was the translator. That oilman paid him, and he used to travel to these houses and explain to these people what that oilman is offering them. It was interesting. I remember my mother used to get so mad because Daddy went off with that oilman again. We had no fancy bathrooms. That time we didn't have a bathtub. We had great big galvanized sort of containers. So that was our way of taking a bath. And it was once a week. And when it was cool, they would fill them up with water and put them out in the sun. And by night, the water was warm. My oldest brother got a nicer tub and stuff. And we had to heat the water on top of the stove in big pots. We had that little Catholic school right there. And the nuns would come before the 1st of September. They were in San Antonio at the convent there, their summer where they lived. And they came out in the country to teach in the winter time. And so we were always excited which nuns are coming. We had one that was really strict, and I mean, she had that ruler. If the boys didn't behave, well, she swallowed one with a new ruler. Then during Christmas, we would have like a pageant, we'd walk in the church with baby Jesus. And if it rained, we walked. The roads got muddy. There was no blacktop and gravel on the roads at that time. So we walked through the pastures, which was about 2 miles. And my sisters and my brothers all sang in the choir in church. And the choir thing was upstairs, the organ, and my cousin played the organ. He taught himself all the songs and everything. When there was a funeral, everybody, the whole community came out. The church would be packed, and we had a window upstairs in the choir, and we would look out the window at the funeral. But we had to sing during the people going out to church. And the women would be cooking a meal over there at the building, the old school. And then we went to the public school. And we were there till the 10th grade. And after the 10th grade, we had to go to Sealy, to the high school. We all went to this big round dance hall, which was out there kind of halfway between Sealy and Wallace. And I started dating this guy. I was about to be a senior in high school. And my sister, Annie, he was dating her. He'd pick her up and go to the dance. And somehow Mickey's grandpa, daddy, got into the picture, and he kind of started dating in between. And by then, I was starting to go to the dances. I was kind of grown up a little bit. I was getting to be 16 years old, so it was okay. Oh, he used to love to go dancing. So we went dancing. We could do the polka or the waltz, those real fast ones. And we started going out. And I was doing real good. I was making good grades. And he decided we got to get married. He said, I can't let you go to school, because if you go to school, you're going to find yourself another boyfriend. So he said, we got to get married. I was 17. So we got married on September the 9th. It was just a couple of days before the school started. I think he was 20 or 21. Yeah. So, and they used to tell him he's rocking a cradle. They made fun of him. Yeah. But at that time they didn't let you go to school after you were married. And he was a school teacher on top of it. The priest didn't want to do it at first, because they want you to wait a while. But somehow we changed his mind, and we just had a little bitty wedding. Just a couple of the uncles and aunts, because there wasn't time for anything. And then that was on a Saturday, and Monday he had to go teach. So he would take the car and drive to teach there. And if it rained, the roads were muddy. I took him as far as I could on the blacktop road, and he had to walk the rest of the way to the school. And I'd go home, and then in the afternoon I'd go back there and wait for him, because we couldn't drive all the way to the school. It was muddy. After he got the job at Duval, which was a copper company, he was in accounting. He got a job in the office there. And it wasn't long after that they moved us to New Mexico first. Oh my gosh, everybody was so upset. The whole family were just crying. But we moved. They came, they packed us, they loaded everything. They wouldn't let me do anything. The company did it all. The truck was all loaded, ready to go. And here comes my husband, just in time to get in the car to drive off. So it was pretty close. Anyway, the town in Mexico was Nogales. It was only 40 miles. So on Fridays, when we had a weekend off, here we go to Nogales, Mexico. And they had this restaurant. It had a dance floor. And we'd go there and go dancing and have dinner and go back home. And so we went to we had a rich widow woman neighbor. We'd get home from work and she would be all dressed up and she said, "We're going to Nogales." So what we had to do, we had to hurry up and change clothes so we can go to Nogales. And when we'd walk in that restaurant, those musicians already knew us. Man, they would strike up that band, and everybody would start hollering. So we'd go dance a few times, and then we eat our dinner and go back home. Most of the women, I think, stayed at home. They had little gardens. So they worked in the yard keeping their flowers. I was always working in a grocery store because I wanted to work, because I enjoyed it. Meeting people, I got to know all the customers and their names and everything. So I went in. First I was cashier. And the people would bring in eggs from the country, and we had to take the eggs in the bag, count them out, and put them down, and give the people credit for how much the eggs were, and then we could take it off of their grocery bill. And then they wanted somebody to be in charge of the drug department, fill the shelves, with rubbing alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So our dad took that over. I had to order the stuff. And we had a meat counter. There was a man that was cutting the meat. You could get everything in that store. I'm trying to think how many years. I worked for quite a few years. I used to go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning to fill the shelves because there were so many people shopping. We couldn't do it in the daytime, so we had to fill the shelves at night till early in the morning. I was scared to death sometimes to walk from the car to the store. In fact, when I retired, the big shots from California came that worked with the Lucky stores. I think there's something else now, but anyway, they all came for my retirement party. When we came back from Arizona, I think we came back in 47 or something like that. Our family was around here, Friedrich and Wallace and Celie. And he died, I think, February 2001. He died. It was hard, but I felt like he lived a good life. I'd go to the cemetery almost every second day or every day. That's Jersey. I would say, Jersey, what we gonna do? We're gonna go in the front bedroom. He followed me, clean house. He was right behind me the whole time. And when he was getting old. I think he was around 19 years old. And he didn't want to eat anymore. He just quit eating. And I just couldn't take it. So I wrapped him up, and Tracy and I took him to the vet. And like I say, I got his little ashes, and it's going to be buried with me. I had a full life. I didn't miss anything. Be good to each other. I know I get upset too sometimes, but I try to keep my cool.
So your message is have patience and be good to each other?
Yeah. Have patience, be good to each other, because they might need help too. Help each other out the best way you can. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much, Grandma.
Okay.